What is going on, everybody? SchwayZ here, and in today's video I'm going to be telling you 5 things that you need to know about the 2023 Chevy Silverado ZR2. Now, before we get started, I do want to extend a huge thank you to Jerry Seiner Chevrolet for giving me the opportunity to review this vehicle for you all today. As I'm sure you can tell, they have a large lot full of lots of interesting cars. So if you guys are in the market for a new or used vehicle, make sure you let them know SchwayZ sent you. I'm going to put their information down in the description below. Okay, first, let's start off with the powertrain. Now, this thing comes with a 6.2 liter pushrod small block V8 that produces 420 horsepower and 460 pound-feet of torque. That's the only engine you can get with the ZR2. Now, that power is mated to a 10-speed automatic transmission, and of course, this comes with all-wheel drive using a transfer case. Now, this engine does propel this vehicle 0 to 60 in just around 5.7 seconds. And if you're curious about fuel economy, well, it's better not to ask. It's 14 in the city and 17 on the highway. Now, the second thing you should know about this vehicle is the off-road capabilities. That's actually what the ZR2 is. It's actually the off-road version of the Silverado 1500, and it's meant to kind of compete with the likes of the Ford Raptor and the Ram TRX, but not quite. This is a more civil version of that vehicle. Now, this is actually very similar to the GMC Sierra AT4X that I reviewed a few months back, except this is a little bit more off-road oriented. And a prime example of that is, take a look at these front bumper cutouts, where the GMC Sierra just had a regular conventional bumper, kind of a more luxurious off-road pickup truck. This one kind of spits in the face of that. You have this front cutout over here for the tire, and you've got a 31.8-inch approach angle on the Silverado ZR2. That's actually really impressive. Speaking of this area, let's talk about the tires. You've actually got 33-inch tires wrapped around 18-inch wheels, and these are the Goodyear Wrangler Territory MT tires. These are actually almost identical to the ones I have on my Ford Bronco, and they are incredibly capable. I actually love these tires. Now, in case you're wondering where this sits in the Silverado lineup, this is pretty much the Mac Daddy. It's one trim level above the Trail Boss, which is already a very capable off-road pickup truck, but this just takes it to the next level. You do have this side step over here, and it's really sturdy. It's nice metal. It's got like a truck bed liner to it, so you're definitely going to know it can scrape some rocks and be just fine. And coming to the back, your departure angle isn't bad either, around 23 degrees, but definitely not as good as your approach angle. Now, this vehicle sits about 2 inches higher than the regular Silverado, and you've got about 11.2 inches of ground clearance, which is pretty capable. Not the same as like a Wrangler or a Bronco, but pretty close to it, and much better than the regular Silverado. Now, coming to the back, I should mention you do have skid plates located underneath the vehicle to protect some of the vital components, and your rear axle ratio is 3.23. The other thing to mention back here, your exhaust pipes are actually tucked away into the bumper to kind of give you a better departure angle so you don't scrape those as you're leaving a large rock. Now, one thing to mention about this vehicle that's really a competitive advantage compared to the Ford Raptor and the Ram TRX is this vehicle comes with a front and rear locker. So you actually have greater rock crawling capabilities in this thing compared to the Ford Raptor, which is better for dunes and kind of some sandy off-roading, because you do have lockers, which I'll show you how to activate on the interior. Pretty impressive. The GMC and Chevy both throw that into their off-road versions. Now, similar to the Sierra and the Chevy Colorado ZR2 I recently reviewed, the main selling point of this ZR2 is these Multimatic DSSV dampers. Now, these are absolutely incredible, especially in the GMC Sierra that I reviewed. These things make the best on-road comfort and ride quality, especially out of the fact that this is leaf springs in the back. This thing rides like you would expect a Cadillac or a Mercedes on road. But when you take these off-road, they are incredibly smooth. I mean, washboard roads don't really mean anything in this type of vehicle because it just glides over surfaces. I mean, these things make a ton of different decisions as you're driving down the road and actively vary the amount of dampening at each wheel to give you the utmost on-road and off-road performance. I really can't speak enough about these Multimatic shocks because they're better than the Bilsteins that I have on my 2021 Ford Bronco. Now, even though looks don't really make a difference when you're off-roading, this thing does look like an off-roader. You've got this mean front grille with this running light. You've even got the Chevy bow tie that allows for greater airflow into the radiator. I mean, this thing does look like an off-road vehicle with the tow hooks up front. Definitely aggressive. But the other thing that Chevy added is the technology. You do have trail control here, which is pretty much an off-road cruise control, and you have hill descent control. So as you're going downhill, this thing will maintain the same speed, making it a lot easier to off-road. I mean, there's so many goodies in here that make it just so much simpler to do off-roading than the vehicles of 20 years ago. Now let's talk about the third thing you should know about this vehicle, which is its truck capabilities. Because at the end of the day, this is a truck. You want to use it as such. That's why you're not buying a Wrangler or a Bronco. Well, this one only comes in one configuration. You've got this 4-door crew cab with a 5-foot 10-inch bed. And it's actually a decent sized bed. This isn't the long bed by any means, but this is almost like a mid-sized bed range. And I think it's enough for a vehicle of this size. You don't really want anything longer because then that compromises off-road capability. Towing is also a major advantage of this over the Raptor or the TRX, and that is because this thing can actually tow up to 8,900 pounds. Payload is actually also pretty decent. This one particular with the spec that it has is 1,335 pounds. Now for the fourth thing you should know about this vehicle is the technology, because it's actually pretty advanced. First off, we're just going to give you a quick overview of the interior. You do have some nice use of material over here on the top of the door panel. Some nice contrast leather with some contrast yellow stitching. Looks really nice. Pretty typical plastic door panel over here, but you do have a nice Bose speaker grille. Overall, a very truck-like interior, but also on the premium end. Not as nice as the GMC Sierra, but not bad by any means. You do have leather surfaces over here. This is a better interior than the Colorado ZR2 I recently reviewed. Starting off with the interior, this is going to be a very familiar place. You've got your Chevy steering wheel, which looks pretty nice. You do have a heated steering wheel on here. On the left-hand side, you've got your cruise control. On the right-hand side, you have your menu buttons for this large 12.3-inch instrument gauge cluster display. I really like this display. You've got cool graphics over here on the right-hand side with your different driving modes. On the left-hand side, your speedometer, and then your typical menu buttons over here in the middle that you can cycle through depending on what you click on the steering wheel. Lots of functionality there. Over here on the left-hand side, you just have your head-up display information, and then your brightness for the display. You've got your 4 high, 4 low, 4 auto over here, and then your headlight controls, then your electronic parking brake, and then over here is your large 13.4-inch display. And this thing is really cool because not only is it really simple to use, I mean, pushing the button, this thing will cycle through very quickly, much quicker than a lot of other competitors do, but I really like the simplicity of this system and the fact that Google is actually integrated into this car. So you can just say, you know, hey Google, and then ask it a question and it will actually answer it. So really cool. It's kind of like your Alexa smart home device, and I like that they integrated that. Over here, you do have your switch gear for a lot of different things, including your front and rear locker. That's what I was talking about earlier. Your trail control, you can actually open the rear trunk lid using this, and then your parking sensors and your safety features for your lane keep assist. You do have a physical button for your home and volume, which is really nice. And then down here is your typical climate control. You do have your trailer brake controller over here, which is really nice. And over here, you do have some 2 USB ports. Further down here, you just have a compartment. You've got your shifter with 2 cup holders, a little bit more of a compartment over here. And then over here is your wireless charging pad. This vehicle does have wireless charging, heated and ventilated front seats, and you've got a rear camera mirror as well. So lots of technology and amenities on the interior. You also have a sunroof over here. Now, unfortunately, you cannot get a panoramic sunroof, which I think is disappointing because both the F-150 and the TRX offer a panoramic sunroof. Another really amazing piece of technology is by pushing this camera button, you can activate your 360-degree camera, and that is a very high-resolution camera on the Silverado. I mean, really impressive. Tons of different camera angles. I mean, so much functionality here. Even camera angles you didn't even think you needed. It has that. You also do have a head-up display, which I kind of teased at earlier. It's kind of hard to see over here on the screen, but it is a 15-inch head-up display. And another thing to mention on this infotainment screen is you do get wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto. So Silverado really comes packed with every single modern feature that you could ask for in terms of technology. Now, the fifth and final thing you should know about the Silverado ZR2 is the amenities. I've already mentioned the heated and ventilated front seats, the heated steering wheel, but you also get a lot of safety features. You've got adaptive cruise control. You've of course got blind spot monitoring, lane keep assist that I showed off earlier. Unfortunately, you cannot get Chevy Super Cruise on the ZR2 just yet, but more amenities in the second row in regards to storage. You've got this clever storage compartment over here behind the seats themselves. You can lift this little compartment up, and then opening up the second row, you do have a storage compartment underneath the seats as well. You got heated seats in the second row. That is a pretty clever amenity. You've got 2 vents back here and 2 USB ports. Unfortunately, I don't see any form of household power adapter in the second row, but nonetheless, you got lots of amenities even for your second row passenger. And in case you're wondering about cup holders, you've actually got 1, 2 over here, 2 more in the other door pocket. That's 4, 5, 6 over here, 7, 8 behind the center arm console. You've got 9, 10 in the doors over here on both the passenger and driver side, and then 11, 12 cup holders and a juice box. That is a large amount of cup holders for a vehicle that can fit maybe 5 people. And the amenities don't stop there. I've shown this off before, but this is GMC's and Chevy's multi-flex tailgate. So you've got 7 different positions. If you raise this thing up, you can fit plywood this way, that way. There's so many different functionality here. The only thing this multi-flex tailgate does not have is a speaker system like that in the GMC Sierra AT4X, but it does have a soft opening. And then there's another amenity back here. Aside from this little grab handle on the left-hand side, you've got a household power adapter over here on the right-hand side. So you can actually plug in devices or power tools and actually power them on the job site using your Silverado ZR2. And there you have the ZR2, similar to the Colorado, but a decent amount of space back here. You do have the wheel wells extended to the left and right side, allowing you to fit larger items inside of the truck bed. And to finish it off, let's talk about pricing. The ZR2 starts just around $71,500. This one in particular on the screen in front of you is just under $78,000, which really isn't a bad bargain considering everything you get. I mean, think about it. You have a lot of amenities and features that you would expect from a luxury vehicle. You got the practicality of a pickup truck and the off-road capabilities of essentially a Wrangler or a Bronco. So you got 3-in-1 with the ZR2, and I've been really impressed with it. Would you take this over a Ford Raptor or a TRX? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed today's short little overview of the Chevy Silverado ZR2. If you guys did enjoy today's video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for all of the weekly car videos. Also find me on social media down in the description below at SchwayZ_. And as always, everybody, I hope you stay SchwayZ, stay healthy, have a wonderful day.